First of all, the people with common sense known as this man has been a monster for many years. So the fact that he's now been arrested and charged for all these heinous crimes was not a shock to me at all. Not a shock. I'm happy. Like, I'm sorry, but he's done unimaginable things for decades, and people have been exposing him. But unfortunately, a lot of those people have been shunned. They've been called haters. You know, people in the industry, people that he's worked with. It's horrible, right? He's a absolute like the stuff that he's committed is heinous to men and women. What I want to say is, and this is what a lot of women don't think about, right? When it comes to Cassie, how she ties into this, right? How this ties into even like reproductive health, how this ties into even, you know, a woman's emotional well-being. Women are gaslit. Let me just say this from birth, that relationships are more important than themselves. In a sense, relationships are more important than their own peace, their love for self, right? Them getting to know themselves. It's starting to change a little bit now, but if you're a millennial or Gen X or even was born later than that, then you were, in a way, it may be a subtle way, but you were gaslit. Society lets women know, listen, if you don't get in a relationship, don't get married, your life is pretty much worthless, right? You mean nothing to society if you don't, get married, have children. So a lot of women feed into that, and because of that, they stay in relationships or, situationships or marriages a lot longer than they should, okay? A lot longer than they should. Let's really talk about it, okay? And women get trashed for that, for staying in situations much longer. Why did you stay with this person so long? Because when you have a society of people that are, again, programming women to think that the love they have for themselves means nothing, and that, their lives is centered around whether they get married or not, then this is what you get. You get women staying in relationships too long and loving the person in the relationship more than they love themselves. And the reason why that is dangerous, extremely dangerous, is because you get situations like Cassie, like somebody, and even it may not even be as bad as Cassie and Diddy, but it could be a situation where a woman is just, she's in a relationship much too long, or a marriage too long, where she's being abused. It may not even be physically, it could be mentally, verbally, and this person is really taking a toll on her emotional well-being, right? Her self-esteem, her self-worth. And because it's been ingrained in her to love, to love relationships, to love marriage more than herself, this is what you get, okay? I'm not saying that wanting to get married is a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. But when you prioritize that more than your love for self and more than your own desires in your life, you get a situation where a woman is not happy, she's not fulfilled, and a situation similar to Cassie, right? Because because of what I do, in case you guys don't know, I'm a holistic womb specialist, and I work with women. A lot of women that have fibroids and other reproductive health issues, a lot of times it's after they develop that issue, or it got worse after a horrible relationship, after really toxic relationship or a really toxic marriage, right? And this is because they prioritize that person and that relationship or that marriage more than their own well-being, their own peace, what they want, their desires, right? Because again, it's subtly been ingrained in women to love, relationships, love men more than themselves, right? So I'm not saying to hate men. I'm not saying, let's just all be single. I'm not saying that, because that's extreme, and that's like, from trauma, rooted in trauma. What I'm saying is that there has to be a love of self that comes before anything, and not in a way where there's, you're just mean to everybody else. You don't care about people. I'm talking about in a way where you love yourself so much that, you're not prioritizing, whether you love yourself so much, whether you're single, married, in a relationship, it doesn't matter. There's that same self-love, there's that same self-fulfillment, and you are creating this beautiful life for yourself, no matter what you are, right? And your whole life is not tied in, being a wife and thinking that your life ends right there, right? And not feeding into societal programming that you're nothing without a man. It's really important, because if not, then we get situations like this or similar to this. It may not even be this bad. It could be similar to this. And it's just a horrible situation. And now you see, shortly after, Diddy, she's now in a happy marriage, right? With Diddy, she didn't have any children. They didn't get married because, he doesn't really like women, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? And now she's happily married with 2 children. But let me tell you, that trauma that she endured, all those, men those drugs, all the men that he had her, sleeping with, out of force, you think that's not going to take a toll on her mental health? You think that this girl doesn't have nightmares probably in the middle of the night? You think that this is take a toll, on her overall happiness? It does. The stuff that he put her through, it's in her subconscious for the rest of her life. She's gonna have to do really lots and lots and lots of therapy to even start to heal this stuff. Okay, and I'm telling you this as a woman. I've been in situations too where not this bad though, but I've never been physically abused, but I have been in situations, relationships where I was loving the person in the relationship more than myself, and that's very detrimental. Even if you're happily married, that's detrimental. I would still, your happiness, your health comes first, ladies. You thrive. Relationships are much better when you're healthy. Number one, mentally, emotionally, physically, right? When you're not, struggling, when you're not in survival mode, because that tends to be when people actually desire relationships the most, when they're in survival mode, which is crazy to me. When you're actually at a point where there is some type of self-fulfillment, right? And so you're able to choose from a healthier space. And it's not because society is telling you have to get married by this age or you're gonna die. It's because that's your desire, right? It doesn't have anything to do with you just want to feel chosen so you can look cool in front of your family and friends. No, it's, that's your desire. And and whether it happens or not, quickly or whatever, whenever, you're fine with that. And you're still enjoying your life, and you're still pointing to yourself, and you're still loving yourself. That's important. Because if you don't have that, then you're going to attract situations that are going to be extremely toxic. I'm going to be honest with you. Because broken people don't feel whole, attract other broken people, in case you don't know. Now, the beautiful thing about Cassie's story is that, she's now in a loving marriage. She now, has 2 beautiful children. And with all that happened to her, she could have easily went the bitter route, right? That she hates men. All men are horrible. All men are toxic. Like I see a lot of women do, right? Because I like balance, right? There has to be some sort of balance, right? You have to understand that when you're adopting ideologies that are from trauma, that are from your personal trauma, but are not going to serve you, right? So if you feel yourself, if you've been through toxic relationships and you feel yourself, thinking that all men are bad, or you're seeing that in your reality, that's a reflection of what you think, right? So if you think all men are bad, or most men are bad, you're gonna see examples of that all in your vicinity. So it's really important that when you have been through toxic relationships or a toxic relationship, that maybe take a little time for yourself and just really, you gotta do the self-work. You gotta release emotional blocks and do the self-work and understand that, listen, this situation attracted this situation for a reason. Okay, I'm not talking about blasting the person hating the person for the rest of your life. I'm talking about learning how to somehow find some type of forgiveness. Not that you have to talk to them anymore, but finding some type of forgiveness and also understanding the lesson and seeing where you attracted that person so that won't happen again, right? So that's really important for women to do. Okay, so I'm super happy for Cassie. I hope any woman and this is anybody that has been through a horrible relationships and that are still having those flashbacks and that has been through a lot of traumatic things. I pray for you. I'm saying 11 prayers for the women that are on their journey to heal their womb. Understand that, listen, sometimes, or even you may be dealing with fertility issues. Sometimes with certain men, you're because of how the relationship is, you don't end up getting pregnant. Right? Sometimes, now I'm not saying that in all cases, but sometimes it's the men in the relationship that's causing that as well. You don't feel safe in that relationship. That's why you're not getting pregnant, right? That too. Okay? You see now she has 2 kids, right? I'm sure that she wanted to have kids before this. So I want you to understand, it's so important to do the emotional work. And that's what we do in the moon circle, okay? So if you've been through chaotic relationships, if you've been through really horrible relationships and you are dealing with fibroids, any other reproductive health issues, I need you to look into the moon circle and you're wanting to really work on the emotional root causes of these things. and you want to feel more connected to yourself and your body and just you as a woman and increase your self-love, join our Moon Circle, our monthly membership, okay?